currently there are a lot of theories going around about how Sherlock faked his death in the BBC miniseries. After watching the last episode a couple times, I think it's fair to say that a lot of the theories have bits and pieces that make sense, but then they tend to get kind of ridiculous at the end. So this is my personal conclusion. Firstly, we know that Sherlock gets somebody to send John some kind of fake phone call about Mrs. Hudson being in the hospital. Now, obviously, T2MB is in a very different place in TV adaptation than it is in actuality. So I can't say for certain how long it would take for John to get in a cab and go to St. Bart's and then go all the way to T2MB and back. I'm guessing Sherlock has 20 to 30 minutes before John returns. Firstly, we know that Sherlock asks Molly to help him. I think he's probably asking her to help him verify his death, along with a bunch of other little miscellaneous things, because she does work in the mortuary. Next bit, Sherlock is on the roof. I believe that he goes to the roof with that plastic ball he was playing with in his pocket and some kind of recording device. I don't actually know what it is, I just know that it's dark and suspicious looking. Then Moriarty kind of rants for a little. And I think it's important to note that because one of Sherlock's character flaws is that he can't keep his trap shut. So Moriarty is just kind of ranting, and Sherlock is just kind of standing there and not interrupting, which makes me think that he probably is recording something. The recording that is probably up his coat sleeve is now recording everything that Moriarty is saying. I think he does this so that when he comes back from the dead, he has some kind of legitimate proof that Moriarty was real. They keep this up for a while. They're kind of standing in the middle of the building, which makes me think that maybe something is going on the street below that Sherlock does not want Moriarty to, which may or may not be relevant. Here's what we do know. It's the first time that we see Sherlock dead and on the ground. There is some kind of random garbage truck that is pulling away, which makes me think that the garbage truck was either used for a safety net or it had some kind of safety net in it. It doesn't necessarily have to be a net, but just some kind of device that broke his fall. He already shoots himself, and Sherlock is now standing on the edge of the building. Kind of just stands there and he waits for John to get out of the cab, at which point John starts walking around to the building. Sherlock says, "No, don't do that, go back," and John walks around. There's a scene earlier where we can tell that between Sherlock and John, there is some kind of building, probably a bunch of garages. So then we know that John cannot see Sherlock hit the ground. And Sherlock spends a couple minutes kind of psychologically preparing John for the fact that he's going to jump off the building. Sherlock says goodbye and he tosses his phone or recording device or whatever it is to the side so that it doesn't get damaged when he jumps. And then he just kind of falls off. John panics and he starts running around the garages to go get to Sherlock, and he inconspicuously gets hit by a bike. A bike that in all likelihood Sherlock could probably see from his vantage point up on top of a tall building. John gets knocked to the ground, and that gives Sherlock and his accomplices whatever time they need to get him out of the safety net and all bloodied up. That's the time when Sherlock takes the plastic ball out of his pocket and he puts it under his arm and lays on the ground. By doing this, he's stopping the pulse in his right arm. By the time John actually turns the corner, all he sees is Sherlock looking terrible in some garbage truck rolling away. People are rushing out of the hospital to help, and they're all kind of pushing John away because they're all doctors and nurses, and John is scrambling to get to Sherlock. He doesn't really have time to get close to him, but what he does get to do is reach out and take the pulse in the arm nearest to him. Evidently is Sherlock's right arm. Once he gets in the gurney and he's kind of rushed into the hospital, the rest is all guesswork because we don't really have any data for that. Once he's inside the building, he's probably kind of shuffled off to one of Mycroft's allies who pronounces him dead and then is taken to the mortuary where Molly helps him out. So there you have it. I'll see you in a week. Unless I'm Rosa, in which case I won't do my videos on time.